The purpose of this short video, Tips on Effective Writing, is to provide specific guidelines for you for envisioning, developing, and submitting your N321 Paper 1. There are numerous strategies for effective writing, and I certainly do not want to suggest a different strategy if you are comfortable with your own creating and writing style. But if you are like many and don't know where to start, are not comfortable in putting your thoughts and beliefs in print, the tips and suggestions in this short video may be helpful. I would encourage you to start by simply making some typed or handwritten notes regarding details of Paper 1. Identify the ethical topic that you want to focus on this semester. Sketch out some notes about why this ethical issue is important when considering ethical behavior and ethical issues and concerns in healthcare. Then be a little bit more specific and identify ethical concerns inherent in this issue. For example, the ethical dilemma is technically not abortion, as an example. The ethical issue is how does an individual or how does society balance the rights of the fetus and the rights of the mother. So write down as many aspects or concerns that you believe are inherent in this issue. Identify what you think is your personal opinion currently about this issue. Now, this is not your position on one side of the dilemma, but rather how you see and what you think about the ethical concern. Then take a few minutes to envision and sketch out how Paper 2 and Paper 3 will be an extension of this Paper 1. Remember that Paper 2 requires that you select a specific topic or aspect or question or component within this larger ethical concern, and that you actually state your position or stance, and that you then discuss how your stance is supported or guided by one ethical principle and one ethical theory, and how that has guided the development of your position. That will be the focus of Paper 2. Paper 3 requires that you expand on this ethical dialogue you developed in Paper 2 by actually developing and stating a counter argument to the position you took in Paper 2 that incorporates a different ethical principle and different ethical theory to support that opposing perspective. As you prepare to write, envision your audience. You are writing this paper to a group of college students who are very intelligent but have a limited knowledge of ethical dilemmas and how to resolve an ethical dilemma. They are your peers and colleagues, and you are to help them understand this specific ethical dilemma that you have selected. As you prepare, envision how you will answer the 3 specific questions. Just do this for yourself, make notes. Ask yourself, why is this topic important to a person developing ethical behavior? Why is this topic important as a consideration for health care? Why is this topic important to me? Make notes as you answer the question of why this is so important. The second question to address in Paper 1 is, what are some possible specific ethical concerns inherent in this topic? As I said earlier, the ethical dilemma is not abortion. There are actually many specific ethical concerns. How does society balance the rights of the fetus versus the rights of the woman? Or does society have the right to dictate another's specific reproductive behavior? Or under what conditions might abortion or pregnancy termination be considered the best for the individual and for society? So begin to identify some of these possible ethical concerns. The task in paper 1 is to identify these various concerns. The final question is to ask, what is your current opinion about the ethical concern? Now, this is not your specific position on one argument in resolving the dilemma, but is rather, what do you think, or what is your opinion about the various aspects of the ethical concern? Once you have jotted down notes about information you want to include in the paper, begin to envision how it will be structured or developed. Now, the paper should be 1.5 to 3 pages, not counting the title page and the reference page. I know these specific directions state 1.5 to 2 pages, but it will be fine to extend to 3 pages of text if you need to. Actually create the Word document, develop the title page and reference page so you can begin the writing and already have the first and last page developed. Now spend some time thinking about supporting material that you have read either for this class or previously that you can incorporate to give depth and credence to your paper. What information can you include to support your discussion from the Galen article on knowing good and doing good, or from the Butts article, or even from the information on rationing of healthcare services by the Hackler article and the readings for class on Monday? So think how this ethical literature that you have read can augment your own positions and ideas. Now decide how many paragraphs you will need. Since you must address the 3 specific questions or components, I recommend that you plan for 5 paragraphs. This will include an introductory paragraph to inform the reader the purpose of the paper. For this, you will develop a thesis sentence. You should plan on 3 paragraphs with each paragraph addressing one of the 3 components or questions. Then plan for 1 short concluding paragraph to summarize the main point and inform the reader that you have identified the topic and why this is important in healthcare and what your concern is relative to the topic. And include that in subsequent papers you will expand on your specific stance and the ethical rationale for that stance. The opening sentence in paragraph 1 should identify the broad ethical issue or concern you will be addressing in paper 1 and in the subsequent papers. Tell the reader early on that this paper will focus on a discussion of that specific ethical topic. Then develop a thesis sentence that will be the 2nd or 3rd sentence of the first paragraph. This thesis sentence helps the reader to know what the paper is about, what you will address or answer in the paper, and what the purpose of the paper really is. I indicated this would be a thesis sentence, but you may actually need to have 2 sentences to articulate this information to the reader. The body of the paper will then include 1 paragraph each of the 3 components or questions identified for paper 1. Plan to develop 3 to 5 sentences for each paragraph. You must have a minimum of 2 sentences in each paragraph. But to keep the focus on only one question or idea, you should not have more than 5 sentences in each paragraph. So, a minimum of 2 sentences, but not more than 5 sentences in each paragraph. And then include any material from articles that you have read thus far to support why this topic is important and your ethical concerns about the topic. The concluding paragraph may be only 2 to 3 sentences in which you briefly summarize the purpose of the paper and what you did in paper 1. It will then be helpful to inform the reader of your plans for paper 2 and paper 3. Remember, include only references that you actually cited in the paper and follow the specific APA formatting for the reference page. Plan to submit your paper 1 as a DOC or DOCX document on the Canvas assignment link for paper 1. And the deadline for submission is Wednesday, February 1st by midnight. I hope you have found this helpful in helping you to envision and develop your paper 1.